Here's a challenge. Try not to yawn for the next 10 minutes. I'm serious. Set that intention right now. No yawning. You're not tired. You're not bored. You're alert, you're focused, and you are absolutely not going to yawn. And I promise you, within the next few minutes, you're going to fail. Spectacularly. Not because you're sleepy. Not because this video is boring. But because your brain is about to do something ancient, involuntary, and honestly kind of beautiful. And there's almost nothing you can do to stop it. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. And some of what science has discovered about yawning. And what your yawns secretly reveal about your brain, your empathy, and even your personality is going to genuinely surprise you. So, let's begin. Welcome. Today we're going deep on one of the most universal, most mysterious, and most underrated behaviors in all of biology, yawning. We're going to start by debunking the biggest myth most people still believe about why we yawn. Then we'll get into the real science, including the fascinating brain-cooling theory, the step-by-step neural pathway that triggers contagious yawning without your permission, and what your tendency to catch yawns reveals about your capacity for human connection. There's a lot here. Let's get into it. Section 1. What actually is a yawn? And we yawn? Before we go anywhere else, we need to understand what a yawn physically is, because most people have this completely wrong. When you yawn, yes, you open your jaw wide, but that's just the surface. Your eardrums actually stretch during a yawn. That's why your ears sometimes pop. Your facial muscles engage. Your blood pressure temporarily rises. And if you're doing the full body version, arms out, spine arched, everything stretching, that has its own scientific name, pandiculation. That's the technical term for the yawn and stretch combo. Cats, dogs, and virtually every mammal on the planet does it. It's your body's way of rebooting itself after stillness. Now, the myth. We yawn because we need more oxygen. You've heard this. It sounds completely logical. You're tired, your breathing slows, your body needs air, so you take a deep yawn to flood your lungs. Simple, right? So if it's not oxygen, what is it? The leading scientific theory right now is both elegant and surprising. Your brain is running hot, and yawning is how it cools down. Your brain is functionally a machine, and like any machine, it has an optimal operating temperature. When you're fatigued, stressed, or mentally overworked, your brain temperature creeps upward. When you yawn, the powerful muscle contractions in your jaw act like a pump, flushing warm blood away from the brain and drawing in cooler blood from the rest of the body, while the incoming air helps cool the sinus passages. Together, these work like a radiator for your brain. Section 2. The step-by-step science of contagious yawning. Okay, now we get to the part that makes yawning genuinely fascinating. Why? When you see someone yawn, or hear someone yawn, or simply read about yawning in a YouTube script, does your own body revolt and do the exact same thing? Scientists classify contagious yawning as an echo phenomenon, an automatic imitative response that happens without conscious awareness. You know how you unconsciously cross your legs when someone across from you does the same? Or how you gradually pick up speech patterns from people you spend time with? Contagious yawning falls into that same category of involuntary social mirroring, except it runs far deeper. Here is what actually happens inside your brain, step by step. First, your superior temporal sulcus, a region that processes biological motion, detects the visual cue of a jaw opening, eyes squeezing shut, a face stretching. It recognizes this as a yawn. That signal then travels to the inferior frontal gyrus, which activates the motor plan for yawning in your own body. Unless your prefrontal cortex actively suppresses it, which, as we'll discuss, it often fails to do, the motor cortex executes the yawn. And here's what makes this remarkable. Neuroimaging studies using fMRI have shown that contagious yawning bypasses high-level cognitive processing entirely. It taps directly into the mirror neuron network. It happens before your thinking brain has even fully processed what it saw. Mirror neurons are specialized brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing that same action. They are the neurological engine behind imitation, learning, and, crucially, empathy. When you watch someone yawn, your mirror neurons fire as if you were yawning yourself. And then you do. fMRI scans also show that contagious yawning activates the posterior cingulate cortex and precuneus, regions deeply tied to social awareness and self-referential thinking. Your brain isn't just copying emotion. It is on some level simulating the internal state of the person in front of you. Scientists call this motor empathy, your brain modeling someone else's fatigue, stress, or transition state from the inside out. Section 3. The evolutionary purpose, a tribal survival tool. Now here's a question most videos never ask. Why would it be evolutionarily useful for yawning to be contagious at all? What survival advantage does it give? The answer is striking. Andrew Gallup's research showed that simply seeing someone else yawn can improve your own ability to detect threats. Your vigilance sharpens. Your alertness spikes. Now apply that to a group setting. Imagine a tribe of early humans, tired and mentally dull after a long night. One person's brain overheats. They yawn. That yawn spreads. The group's collective alertness rises in unison. Suddenly, everyone in the tribe is more alert, more attuned to their environment, more ready to respond to danger. Contagious yawning may have evolved as a group vigilance tool, a biological mechanism for synchronizing collective alertness. A tribal alarm clock, if you will. More recent research has proposed an even deeper mechanism, neural synchronization. When yawning spreads through a group, it may actually help align the brain states of group members through shared physiology and empathy, keeping the tribe literally on the same cognitive page. Yawning isn't a sign of disconnection. It may be one of our oldest tools for connection. Section 4. Yawning, empathy, and what it reveals about you. This is where it gets personal. Not everyone catches yawns equally, and the difference between who yawns and who doesn't reveals something profound about the brain. The empathy link. Studies have consistently shown that people who score higher on empathy measures are significantly more susceptible to contagious yawning. A landmark study at Leeds University had a researcher yawn every minute for 10 minutes while participants sat nearby. The people who yawned back most were, without exception, those who scored highest on the empathy test. The Smithsonian put it plainly, the less empathetic someone is, the less likely they are to yawn back. And the pattern gets even more specific. Research from the University of Pisa found that contagious yawning is strongest among family members, then close friends, then acquaintances, and barely at all among strangers. Your yawn doesn't spread equally to everyone in a room. It travels most powerfully through the bonds that matter most to you. The psychopathy twist. Now here's where the science gets genuinely unsettling. A 2015 study from Baylor University recruited 135 participants, had them complete a psychopathy scale, and then exposed them to a contagious yawning experiment. The researchers looked specifically at cold-heartedness, the emotional detachment component of psychopathy. And the finding was stark. The higher someone scored on cold-heartedness, the significantly less likely they were to yawn contagiously. This isn't a metaphor. It's a measurable neurological difference. Section 5. Animals, interspecies yawning, and the wider picture. You might think contagious yawning is a uniquely human thing. It is absolutely not. Dogs catch yawns from their owners. And one study confirmed their yawns were physiologically genuine, not just mimicked movements. Crucially, dogs yawn significantly more in response to their owner's yawn than a stranger's. The familiarity bias. Yawning most with those you're most bonded to crosses species lines. Wolves yawn contagiously too. A 2014 study published in PLOS One found this holds particularly strongly among pack members with tight social bonds. Rare Insights section. What 99% of videos never tell you. 1. Fetuses yawn contagiously before they're even born. In a study published in Current Biology, researchers recorded the facial expressions of pregnant women while simultaneously capturing real-time 4D ultrasound images of their fetuses. What they found was extraordinary. Fetuses yawned significantly more often in the 90 seconds after their mothers yawned than at other times. We already know fetuses begin yawning as early as 11 to 12 weeks of gestation, before they've taken a single breath of air. During a fetal yawn, they slowly open their mouths, perform breathing-like movements, and gently close their mouths again, despite there being no air to inhale. 2. Blind people catch yawns through sound alone. Here's a finding that quietly demolishes any assumption that contagious yawning is purely visual. Studies have confirmed that individuals who have been blind from birth still experience contagious yawning when they hear yawning sounds. No visual input, no mirror neuron firing from seeing a face, just the audio and the reflex fires. This confirms that contagious yawning is a multi-sensory, deeply embedded neurological phenomenon that doesn't depend on any single sensory pathway. The mechanism involves serotonin's role in the hypothalamic brainstem pathway that governs yawning frequency. 3. Why do we cover our mouth while yawning? Why do you cover your mouth when you yawn? Politeness, you might say, but the real origin is far stranger. Ancient Romans, Greeks, and many indigenous cultures across the world believe that when you yawned, your soul was attempting to escape through your mouth. Covering your mouth was a protective act, trapping the soul inside. Some cultures also believed evil spirits could enter through an open yawning mouth. The actual soul threat is long gone from modern belief, but the gesture survived. Every time you politely cover your yawn, you're performing a ritual that was originally designed to protect your immortal soul. So let's bring all of this together. Here's what we know for certain. We yawn primarily to cool our brains and reset our mental state, not for oxygen. Contagious yawning is triggered through mirror neurons, motor empathy, and an involuntary neural pathway that bypasses conscious thought. The people you're most bonded to are the most likely to catch your yawn. Contagious yawning develops around age 4 or 5, alongside emotional awareness. Fetuses yawn and may catch their mother's yawns before birth. Psychopaths, cold-hearted individuals, and some people on the autism spectrum yawn contagiously far less. You can't successfully resist a yawn. Fighting it makes it worse. Excessive yawning without cause is worth discussing with a doctor. And every time you cover your mouth, you're protecting your soul. At least, that's what the Romans believed. The next time someone near you yawns, and you feel that unstoppable wave coming, let it happen. It means your brain is working exactly the way it should. It means you're connected. It means you're human. Now I have one question for you, and I genuinely want to know. How many times did you yawn during this video? Drop your exact count in the comments below. We're running a completely unscientific, contagious yawning experiment right here on this channel, and I want the data. And if you found this video fascinating, if you learned something that actually surprised you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content, and it takes you half a second. If you want more deep dives like this into the surprising, strange, and beautiful science hiding inside everyday human behavior, subscribe and hit the bell. This is exactly what we do here all the time. Thanks for watching. Yawns. Sorry, couldn't help it. Neither could you. I'll see you in the next one.